Hey guys, I'm Aimee Langdon with Langdon Tactical, and I'm here with Ernest Langdon and Tessah Booth from Armed and Styled, and we're going to talk about transitioning from iron sights to red dots on handguns. This is a challenging thing for some people. Let's talk about the tips that helped us the most to transition from iron sights to red dots on handguns. What is the first piece of advice that you would offer people?
So the first thing I would say is that you don't necessarily need to do that. Carrying a firearm, owning a firearm, you have to be professional and proficient. When you add in something like an electronic optic on your gun, you're gonna need to be more of a professional and more proficient. You're gonna have to maintain batteries, brightness levels, anti-fog, lens cleaners, mounting, torque specs, all of those things become an issue. So it may not be for you.
Right.
All right, let's start with that. It may not be for you, but if you make that decision, you need to go into it knowing that you need to be more of a professional. The first thing I think this would be great is we went to a transition class that was hosted by a friend of ours, Randy Tweedy, and you learned a lot from that class and had some serious aha moments. Do you want to talk about that specific? Because I think it's very important.
Yeah, it was a super aha moment, and it was basically a short drill. It was 5 minutes, and we took a target and drew a little circle that was 2 inches
Almost
round in front of us, and we stood, 2-3 yards away from the target, and we just practiced on our draw to the target. Mm-hmm. Draw, present, go to the target. And it was a drill specifically on how to make that red dot optic appear in front of you where it needs to be. And that drill in itself helped A, my presentation, and B, that optic was coming in to the center of the window every time from the top or the bottom. And I wasn't having to sit there and go like this to find it.
Right.
Did you have a similar experience when you were transitioning?
Yeah, so when I started, on irons like most other people, and right out of the gate, I was learning how to kind of present my irons to alignment. That was one of the first things that was addressed, was presenting my irons to alignment. And so when I transitioned to a red dot, I didn't really have a huge transition period because I was already presenting my irons to alignment. So
Sure.
The dot was already there, and that was kind of taught to me in a very similar way that you kind of had your big aha moment, was focusing on one thing, keeping my focus on one thing, and then bringing up my sights to align with that one thing. And obviously with the dot, you're focusing on your target and not on aligning multiple things. So once you have your presentation down, once you're presenting your sights to alignment, that's kind of the aha moment.
So dry fire.
Dry fire.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that, because probably one of the things that comes up there is that a lot of people are probably not presenting to alignment. Mm-hmm. And then they're making an adjustment in the alignment with their iron sights at the last second. So if you're not being precise in your draw with your iron sights, it's going to show itself when you put a red dot on your gun, because the red dot is very unforgiving when it comes to misalignment. Whereas iron sights, being up there in front of your face, they can be way out of alignment, and then you can make that adjustment because it's very visually identifiable.
Well, and as part of that, I think it's also be okay with that red dot moving.
Yes.
Right? Don't look for that exact precision in that red dot to be still before you pull the trigger. Let that red dot move on the target. And if it's where you want it to go, if that's where the bullet needs to go, then be comfortable pulling the trigger with a little bit of that movement versus the exact precision you're looking for when you have your iron sights.
Yeah, because it's not going to stop.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's going to move. Yeah. You don't perceive it as much with iron sights, but with a red dot, you perceive all of the movement.
So it's okay for your dot to be moving around so long as the dot is where you want your bullet to go. But when you go to pull the trigger, you want to pull the trigger without disturbing that, right? Correct. So I think a lot of people, they'll see the dot moving and they'll go, I want to pull the trigger now. And they do the whole now kind of thing, right? So that's something you want to avoid that. You want to be able to see your dot moving and pull the trigger at the right moment without disturbing your sights.
Yeah, so I think the overarching conclusion is that if you spend a little bit of time behind your gun and presenting it in dry fire and practicing that precision of that spot, you know, close to you to get comfortable with it, and then further away, you will naturally be able to transition from those iron sights into that red dot. You know, there's a bunch of maintenance and stuff that's included there, but work on those couple things if you're looking to transition from your iron sights to your red dot, and hopefully it will help you adopt the red dot optic on your handgun faster. We hope this was helpful. If you want to check out more videos or helpful tips, check out the links below or subscribe to our channel. You can find us at Langdon Tactical. You can find Tessa at Armed in Style. Train hard, stay safe.
See you next time.